We're firing up the tier list maker to see what is going on for this format. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. We've labeled our tier list for tier 0.5. Wonder what that is. Tier 1, 1.5, tier 2, and Rogue. And I know people are always like, oh my god, Robbie, why do you use tier 1.5? Because some of these decks don't truly deserve to be in tier 2. Like, I'm sorry to tell you that there will always be, you know, decks in between those tier lists that just feel a little bit better than others. Start things off. Oh, look, it's Penguins. Oh boy, I do think that this deck is actually one of the better forerunners of the format for sure. I do think that, honestly, this is going to be one of the scariest decks in the room. M-Pen and friends now get Dimensional Fissure at max, and good luck dealing with this. Alright, oh boy, Aluber. Now, this is Aluber like 1.5-ish? I think that we're going to put it in tier 2 to start this, though this deck does feel pretty ahead of a lot of the other things that we're going to talk about in this video. We'll leave it here for now. We'll leave it as a placeholder here. Zoodiac. I'm going to put Zoo down here in Rogue. To be perfectly honest with you, the fact that Zoodiac has all of the perfect tools in the world to devastate the opponent and just mess up combos for days, yeah, I think that this deck is going to be one of the scariest decks in the room as an anti-meta Rogue pick. Alright, 3 Zeus, Dimensional Fissure, Macrocosmo, Dimensional Shifter. All of those tools are all it takes for this deck to get things off of the ground, and your opponent's just going to be staring at you going, what's going on? Like, yeah. Sword Soul I'm also going to leave down here in Rogue. It's such a shame because months ago you saw Sword Soul go bloop down here. What the deck does is it's incredibly fair these days. And that's all it is, alright? I want to be more honest and be like, you know, like, this deck could be better. I do think that it will maintain down here as a Rogue pick. I gotta put Scareclaw up here at 1.5. This is so interesting to me, because last format, we saw Scareclaw tearing through the ranks of like being a Rogue deck, and so many people were just so distraught. They were like, why is this deck doing so well versus some other things? Well, to be honest with you, it's just the fact that the deck's matchups that it has are just so strong. And we'll have to wait and see if that was just a fluke that happened 3 times last format. I don't know if that's your correct way to say that, but all right, we'll see if it holds up at the end of the day here. Now, hi MathMech. I guess I gotta put MathMech down here in Rogue as well. Bysteel cards are this deck's banes of existence. Like, it's rough out here. If you are a MathMech player, Bysteel cards are the worst thing that you have to deal with at the end of the day. Kashtira, I'm gonna leave this at tier 2 for now. I do think that by far this is like one of the intermediary steps in between what's going on here and basically like the rest of the meta. Like, pure Kashtira with macro and Di-Fi now will be something kind of scary, but will it bridge the gap? I don't know. We'll adjust as we go here. Crystal Beast. Well, I'm going to put this back here in Rogue. They lost Mystic Mine. I think as this deck kind of goes forward, it will still get the chance to perform and do well, but I haven't seen the damage yet that's been done with this. The Conclave control is absolutely amazing, though. Blackwings, we're just going to toss this back here. I still continue to mention this because this deck will show up every once in a while and take down a locals, and like on the bottom, you know, part of the format, like that's by far like the definition of Rogue in my opinion, is the fact that it can do just that. Basic tier, we'll leave that in tier 1. I mean, you're oh, here it is. Oh look, it's tier 0.5. Haha. Your best variant in the room is the Ishizu variant. Shizu Runic. I'm going to move this up from previous Rogue up here to tier 2. A lot of more people have been testing this variant. A lot more success has been seen with this, in my personal opinion. The deck ceiling is relatively higher than it previously was, and the deck just overall feels better. Regular Dragon Link without a Bysteel package. We're just gonna drop that down there in Rogue. I'm gonna pretend like, you know, that's relevant. Bysteel Dragon Link. Is this deck ahead of Kashtira for the Rogue circuit? I'm going to leave it in tier 2 at the moment, just to see. Oh, hi, Eldritch. You're going to go back here, and I lose 2 Bysteel cards. I still, once again, understand that, you know, this deck is doing things. Yes, I get it. Be patient with it, all right? It takes time for this to go. Lyrilusc. So this is interesting. Now that Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade now has their package back, this deck has been turning heads a little bit. And it's been interesting to see what has come out of this deck right now. For the sake of the argument right now, I'm going to leave it down here in tier 2. This is more of our roguish sector. We'll have to wait and see how it shapes up, though. I'm also going to put Exo up here in 1.5. A lot more people are expecting Exosister to perform a lot better this format, and I do agree with you on that. I think that Necro Valley is definitely going to be a huge power-up for this deck, for sure. It's going to take some time to see this get off the ground. Dragon Maid, I'm still going to continue to leave this back here in Rogue. I think the Bysteel version of this deck is kind of cute. Labyrinth, someday I can move this up. Someday. Still going to be a Rogue Factor deck for sure. Marincess, exact same thing. This deck, very, very Rogue, can do some things at certain points in its career, but it's just that. Sprite Adventure. Is this the better variant? Yeah. It's definitely one of them, and then I'm going to put regular Sprite in tier 1 as well. The Evil Twin variant, I'm going to move down here to like... Is it like 1.5? I feel like it is 1.5. It doesn't feel better than Scareclaw. And then the Runic version of this, even though this is seeing less play right now, I'm still going to leave in 1. And then the Runic tier list I'm also going to leave up here in 1. Both of these are still good decks. They're just seeing way less competitive viability because guess what? There's a better variant. It's always going to be that way. Like, you can play these variants, sure, but I feel like you're just bulking down on yourself at the end of the day. Grand Manju. Now this is interesting. So for like a locals level, I think that this deck is a monster. All right. I think we're gonna put it in tier 2 for now. Triple Macro, Triple Di-Fi is amazing. All right. You've got some things to deal with that. Hi, Pendulum. I'm going to put Pendulum up here in 1.5. You kind of noticed from like the last tier list that you did, tier 2 is expanding a little bit more into 1.5 because of the possibility of what it can do. Truthfully, these will probably get pegged down back here. Some of these will go into the Rogue tech, sector for sure, but for now, it's kind of what I'm thinking here. Dark World. I'm going to toss this down here in Rogue. I think that a lot of people are going to underestimate Dark World. I think a lot of people are going to be caught with their pants down when the deck actually 2-0s them straight out of mind, straight out of sight, and they're going to be like, what just happened to me? To be honest with you, the deck is still, even though Macro and Di-Fi exist in huge numbers, it's a monster. Madolche I'm also going to leave down here in Rogue. I do know that they lost 2 Heralds, which was a big loss, but the deck is not done. And I also want to leave Tellarknights down here as well. There have been some Tellarknight decks that have actually been performing. I know that's a strange thing to say out here, but this deck actually has done some things. It's kind of interesting. And then we have Sky Striker. I'm going to leave this down here in Rogue as well. I think that Sky Striker, yeah, it lost mine, but it's not out of the races yet. It's just got to control the situation a little bit easier. And then there is the Rika deck. I'm going to leave this in Rogue. Every time I seem to move this, or I'm going to leave it in tier 2, every time I seem to move it down here, people are like, well, Robbie, the deck's better than it looks. I mean, yeah, but it's not, it's wild cardy. Now I want to talk about this and this. Now, right now I've been testing Runic pretty extensively. As an anti-meta pick, you can smash through this. This is not a problem. It's going to come down to like some of your more rogue matchups that can obviously ruin your day, but I think the deck is actually pretty good and sets it like tier 2. You're just going to have to figure out, you know, the Lost and Mystic Mine hurt, but the deck as a control deck is far, far from over, for sure. So that's my thoughts on the metagame for December 2022. What do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.